Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage from Drone Dudes, camera operator and gimbal technician Garrett, FAA certified drone pilot Josh Hack, and vice president and executive producer Matthew Feige.
女士们、先生们，请大家欢迎来自 Drone Dudes 无人机兄弟公司的摄影及无人机操作技师 Andrew Garrett 先生，美国航空管理局认证无人机驾驶师 Josh Hack 先生，副总裁及执行制作人 Matthew Feige 先生。
Drone Dudes. Oh, there we go. Hi, everybody. Now that we got my mic on, I just want to say hello, greetings, ni hao. We are the Drone Dudes. I myself am Matthew Feige. I'm the VP and executive producer here. We've got Josh Hack, who is one of our remote pilots. We've got Andrew Garrett, who is our gimbal tech and camera operator. So we're so happy to have you guys here today. Thank you so much for coming. We just wanted to tell you a little bit about our company, show you some videos, and then we'll do a Q&A at the very end. But let's get started. We want to talk a little bit about what we do here. So for about the last 10 years or so, we've been involved in aerial cinematography in Hollywood. So we do high-end commercial filming for the commercial film industry. We do everything from car commercials to documentaries to real estate for corporate, large-scale commercial industries. You name it. Basically, if you got to get a camera in the sky and you need it done beautifully and you need it done on the high end, that's what we're here to do. So with that being said, we wanted to show a couple of videos. The first video we have up is our aerial presentation reel. It's our main reel. I'm gonna intro it and then we'll play it if that's okay. This is 3 different videos that we did in the last few months, some of our latest work. So we're gonna go through it. We're gonna show you what we did, and then afterwards we can talk a little bit about that. And then yeah, let's see the video. Okay. All right. Sorry that. Thank you. Thank you. That Pokemon video was a little bit loud, huh? So yeah, we showed off some of our more recent work on that little vignette there. The first one was the LA Philharmonic. I don't know if you recognize the composer, but that was Dudamel, so it was an honor to work with him, world-renowned composer, classical. And Garrett was actually on that job, and I guess he can speak a little bit to how we went through the creative process, if you just want to touch on it briefly.
Their goal was to shoot at a bunch of iconic Los Angeles places with members of the LA Philharmonic. And so we spent a couple of days all over the city getting these beautiful shots on all different types of video platforms. So we had a drone for the aerial stuff. We had a Taro RC car, which we could put the gimbal and the camera on top of and get a really nice low angle. And then there was also handheld movie work that was done. But we were involved in some way with every shot.
Yeah, very cool. And then the Pokemon video we did, that was also shot various spots around LA. Obviously, we didn't do the ground stuff for that one. We did the aerials for that one. So anytime you saw the air shot, that was us. And then the last video, did you want to talk about the Pokemon video at all?
I just wanted to say real quick about the Pokemon video. Most of the time, what we're doing is getting those aerial shots, which they drop in here and there in a piece. The LA Philharmonic thing was a little more involved, but most of the time what we're doing is just getting aerial shots, beauty shots for stuff.
Garrett makes a good point, actually. That's the first video we saw, the LA Phil. We're working with talent, so when working with talent, you've got to pay attention to timetables and schedules and make sure everyone's set and ready to go. When you guys are all ready to film, it's a big clockwork, how production works. So that's a good example of working with talent and working with subjects on the ground. The second one, the Pokemon video, we mostly did those plates from afar, so they could actually add in CGI all the Pokemon you saw and a lot of the people that you saw too. So when we shot that video, it was a lot less full of people, as you can imagine. So that's kind of interesting to show the difference between shooting with subjects and talent and then shooting with just CGI plates.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the last one, obviously, that was really funny. That was an interesting video because that was not all done with a flying drone. Yeah, you saw the drone fly, and thanks to Hollywood magic, it looks like it's flying through the window or whatever. But actually, that was on a zip line. We flew it right through the room. That's why you never saw the top of the drone. Top of the drone was connected to a wire, so we flew that in the room. Trust me, no actors were harmed in the making of that commercial, and kind of flew around and then dropped it on the sugar glass table. That being said, we want to go into our second video. So this is kind of like a second thing that we do at Drone Dudes. Besides high-end commercial filming, we also offer lighting as well. We do some different lighting techniques. Unfortunately, the young man who pioneers this with us, his name is Jeff. He's actually in Brazil right now. He's on a shoot. So he couldn't be here, but we wanted to show you guys this quick little vignette to show you what drone lighting looks like and aerial lighting and kind of where it's at right now. So yeah, without further ado, let's play that video. Great. Thank you. So yeah, those are just a few examples of all the exciting things you can do with drones in the film and lighting industry. With that, I think we still have more time. We're good. We can talk a little bit about the lighting stuff, but like I said, Jeff's not here to answer a lot of those questions. But we did want to just say, thanks again for having us. And we, I think, are we ready for the next? I can't tell. I can't see back there. Sorry, guys. With that, I guess we can introduce the next speaker. His name is Skip Fredericks. He's with Hollywood Drones, and I think he's going to show some things off too and talk a little bit. And then afterwards, we're going to come back up and do a Q&A so you guys can ask us any questions or make any comments or anything like that. Sound good? Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage, Skip Fredericks.
摄影到台上。
Oh yeah, totally.
Testing 1, 2.
Yeah.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank Bianca and May for having me here and inviting me. It's really an honor to be presenting in front of everybody that's in this room. Hopefully, through this presentation, I might have more opportunities in China, which I'm looking for. So I've been in the television and film business for about 25 years. I was an executive producer at Fox Sports Net, and I created the first extreme sports shows for the network from 1998 to 2003. Creating extreme sports makes me a second unit producer. Second unit producers are the guys, or second unit directors are the guys that do all the action. So what we needed to do, and what we were always trying to do, was push the envelope. We were the first to work with GoPros, first to mount cameras on, because I felt that extreme sports needed to be felt by the audience and not just watched. So fortunately, the technology caught up with some of my ideas and our team's ideas, and I was able to create some really compelling content at the network. Following that, we'll skip through my whole crazy career in this television industry because, like everybody that's been in here, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. So right now I'm at a good place. About 5 years ago, I hooked up with the guys that created the DJI Phantom, quite by accident at the NAB trade show in the international section, and they showed me what this drone was, and I didn't know what it was. And I said, it's really great, didn't have a camera, didn't have anything, so my thought was I could strap a GoPro to the bottom and do movies and videos. Fortunately, I had a friend of mine that was a second unit stunt director on a sci-fi low budget. And for those of you who are in film and television, low budget is low budget at sci-fi. And so we created it, we did the drone action, and it wasn't all that good because there was no gimbals. And there was no way to stabilize the camera. But however, the director loved it because the drone, he actually converted in post. For the users that are, that people are into animation here, they converted it in post and they turned it into an orb flying laser beams at the guys down on the bottom. So that's how I got my start. And since then, I'm an FAA certified flight instructor for the Unmanned Vehicle University. If you go to the university in Arizona, you get yourself an aerospace engineering degree. If you want to learn how to film with drones, cinematography, they send you to California, and I teach you over a 2-day course. So I think at this point, to give you an idea, now my work's a little different than the guys that were up earlier. I do all the stuff that they do. I do TV commercials and video production and movies and things like that. But I try to create my own. I'm working on my own project. So although people do hire me, I prefer to just go out there and do my own thing. So this is a quick little reel of what some of the work that I've been doing and how, and then I'm going to explain how we did the shots and then go into something that will help all of you beginning filmmakers and people that want to get into the industry, exactly how to get into the film industry using drones as a stepping stone to kind of go in the back door of the industry. So I'm going to turn that over to the person that's rolling the video, and I'm going to get to say roll video, because that's what they said I could say. So roll video, please. So thanks. So the idea there is when let's talk about getting into the business, all right? So a lot of you here are filmmakers. So, and I speak at UCLA, and I know there's some people here from UCLA. Well, first of all, if you're going to UCLA and you're going to film school, that's great. It's nice. If you go to any film school, that's wonderful. But usually what happens is you get out of film school, you come out of film school, and you have a lot of theory, and you don't have any practical work that'll get you a job. Because like me, when you get out of film school, you end up working for somebody carrying cables. You don't become a director, you don't become a producer. The only way you have the opportunity to do that is if you go out and create your own, content. And so right now, you people here have an opportunity that I did not have when I started. I don't really subscribe to YouTube or social media or any of that. I use it to promote. Everybody has to. But you do have a way to get your content out, to at least get exposure for the work that you're doing. So the idea is if you're going to film school, get a practical experience with something. Learn to use a camera. Learn to use your drone. And the reason they have me up here and the reason we're talking about drones is right now, it is the easiest way to break into filmmaking that's been since in the last 25 years. So a good way to get started, if you're not a filmmaker and you want to break in, is start locally. Start, locally. Film real estate. Learn how to film real estate. Hone your skills off on real estate. Real estate agents, they take pictures. You can do video. It's a great way to practice your skills. Another thing I teach is that you can't just put the drone in the box and then a week later or 30 days later fly the drone for a mission for a client. What you need to do is you need to practice every week. I go out flying every Saturday or Sunday morning around 8 o'clock, and I fly for a good hour. I go through 4 batteries or 5 batteries, and I charge them up with my Energen sponsor. That's a plug for my booth guys back there. So, got to take care of my sponsors. So the idea is you need practice. So you need to get practice to do these kind of moves. So that's a way to break in real easy, is real estate. Of course, locally, you can also do local television commercials. Most cable systems in the United States do not have their own production. Most local television in the United States do not have their own production. And it's very easy to get on board with a crew as a drone cinematographer and photographer. Another quick backdoor way is with car dealerships. Car dealerships love video drone shots of their dealerships. They have big egos, they like big shots. So that's very important for the car dealerships. So that's one way to get in. A second way to get in is what I was talking about earlier, is second unit. So second unit is where you work on crews that are doing action sequences. So you start off with as an assistant or an intern, and then you get on sets that have second unit production. So second unit production is easier, and it's a way to sort of backdoor your way into your own production, create your own videos. Robert and I, who is not here, he's a stunt coordinator. He works at the Keanu Reeves Studios, and he and I have been working on using a drone and the combat in sync, sort of like a video game, where the drones do choreographed with the actual fight sequences. I think somewhere along the line I'm supposed to play another video here, so I actually forgot my track. So maybe we just do this video, and then I want to go into how the 5 basic moves. So what we're going to do is I think we're going to play a quick video here, a promo, and then I'm going to actually tell you the 5 moves that if you learn these and you nail these as a drone operator will get you work anywhere. Because after you take those 5 moves, you combine them, and you have 10 moves, 20 moves, etc. And I'll explain how to do that. So maybe we can do this video that we had now, and then I'll tell them about the other one.
Who's flying it?
Hey, I can't teach you to fly one of those, but I sure can teach you to fly one of these. And I think what I'd like to do is, if that's possible, is to run the next one. That's the 5 basic shots. Thank you. Okay, so if you want to become a drone pilot, if you want to get work, those are the 5 moves. Now, I know I said for real estate, but you need to look at the drone, for you camera people out there and producers and directors, look at the drone as not a flying machine. Look at it as a flying camera. And what's unique about it is, for you film students and filmmakers, if you look at a camera, you have camera moves. So camera dollies forward and backwards, cameras track left and right. If they're on a jib or a crane, they jib up and down. So the idea was, when students were coming to me or coming to our school, we have a lot of military drone instructors, and I knew that people weren't interested in firing missiles. They were interested in learning actually how to film. So what I did was, instead of teaching people about drones as flying machines, I taught them drones as cameras. So I teach camera moves. I teach camera moves with the drone. So if you can imagine a drone, it's a camera that sits in 360-degree space. So it can do the same thing as a jib. It can dolly on a tripod. It can track back and forth. So those are the basics, 5 basic shots. So if you can get those, you can work for anybody. You can work for a real estate company. You can work for me. You can work for other production companies. But the skill level comes in is when you take those five shots, and you're not able to do this with a camera that's mounted on the ground. When you take those 5 shots and you combine them in the air into multiple different kinds of shots, that's kind of what you got in the first video that I showed. So we were combining dolly shots with flyovers and orbits and all those kind of things. So doing that gives you the ability to be really creative in the sky. So now, again, this being a film expo, for you filmmakers and producers out there, drone cinematography will really enhance the production quality of whatever feature you're working on. Current drones, like the one I'm going to demonstrate later, have 4K cameras on them. So you can film for almost any filmmaker in Hollywood or in China or around the world and get a 4K video that they can use in their movies. True, the cameras on those kind of drones aren't the big Reds or aren't the big DSLRs. However, I find that most directors and producers are not really looking for super close-ups that they could get from a helicopter. They actually want something that looks like a drone shot. So the idea is to use a drone to get a drone shot. I find that the people that I work with in the industry are looking for aerial views from 50 feet to 100 feet. And the reason of that is a helicopter can get down to 500 feet legally, and they might have big cameras on it, but they can't go lower. So in a crane, most of your cranes in Hollywood, they can only go up maybe 50 feet. So as a drone pilot or future drone pilot, if you want to get that sweet spot and show off your production skills, fly between 50 and 100 feet. And that's what the directors are looking for. For those of you that live in the States here, Fear the Walking Dead, which is shot in Mexico and in Southern California, they use drones extensively in their production. And if you notice, they use what's called a bird's eye view, where they're looking straight down or they're pulling away from a shot. So they want it to look like a drone shot. So it's not like you guys need to go out there and get a $10,000 or $15,000 drone that has a 4K or a Red on it. You can do the same kind of quality production you want to do for your films with a drone like mine. This one in particular, the Phantom 4, is $2,000. I have an Inspire that's $5,000 that I use for the bigger productions. Because like in Hollywood, sometimes the producers and directors that aren't familiar just think bigger is better. So if I show up on a set sometimes, I need to have my big Inspire when the Phantom would do the same thing. For those of you starting out, you can easily get a Bebop 2 drone, which is about, $399, or the Phantom 3, same thing, $399. It's a lot nicer to get a drone that when you crash it, because everybody crashes it, except me, of course, I've never crashed, but everybody crashes it, and at some point, that's $399 down the drain as opposed to $2,000 or $5,000 or $15,000. So that's kind of the rundown on what it takes for you guys to get into the business, what kind of drones that you should have, and what kind of shots that you can do. So the next part of what we're working on next is, like I was telling you guys earlier, and it's is how we create action sequences with drones. So what you need to be able to do then is you need to be able to the hardest part is tracking an object. Usually it's a car chase where you're tracking a car. It's a chase scene where you're tracking a person. I'm very fortunate to be working on the series Sunset Confidential. It's a new series that we're filming actually on Sunset. And the concept is we're shooting most of it with drones. We're trying not to film with any ground-based cameras. We're trying to do it all with drones to create a truly unique look that hopefully, it airs on LA TV, hopefully, other companies will end up picking it up. So that's the plan for us, is to create dynamic moves and dynamic tracking with these drones, and hopefully, in my career as a filmmaker and a drone pilot, I'll be able to get some more work out of that. Gosh, I feel like but I have another video. I forgot. So it's very nice to have such a wonderful crew here. Sequoia, they're doing a great job, and they're the ones that have been helping me out through this whole thing. And I love the part where I get to say roll tape. So that was Sunset Confidential. Thank you. So we're trying truly unique types of cinematography. Now, for you up-and-coming filmmakers, for you big budget, for you people back there that have millions and millions of dollars to spend on movies, that's great. That feature was all shot in 4K, and it was mostly shot on with a DJI Inspire, DJI Phantom, and the DJI Osmo. So what we did was we mounted them in front of cars, we mounted them from overhead, and we were able to create a broadcast quality. And I would ask any other filmmaker out there that shot on a RED or a DSLR, and I think we have the director of photography out here for it. There he is. So we did that. So the ground shots, of course, local, and the aerial shots we did with the drones. So that's an opportunity when, oh, I got a thing. This is great. I love this. So they send me things up on the stage, for what a tough crowd. Anyway, so what we're going to be doing as soon as a drone demo, so I think I'm supposed to do some sort of countdown or bring the guys back up, drone dudes, or I go over here. I do my demo first? Yes? Oh, okay. So what they want me to do is fly. So now I'm gonna go into that cage and fly that drone. And that drone has an HDMI out, and it's connected to the videos here, and you'll be able to watch it. I have to stay in that cage. A lot of people like putting me in the cage, so I'm going to go over there now. It's going to take me probably about 3 minutes to get this thing up in the air, and then I believe we're going to come back and do some question and answers with everybody. So hopefully all this electronics I have on doesn't wear out the drone, but we'll see what happens. Oh my, what a great crowd. All right, so they're going to put me in the cage. Okay. All right, so for those of you who've never flown a drone before, here's some rules and some laws. First of all, the law is you cannot fly above 400 feet. Remember that. You cannot fly within 5 miles of an airport without permission. 2 miles is a lockdown. If you fly within 2 miles of an airport, your drone will not fly. So those are the hard rules. Oh, stay away from planes, don't fly over crowds, and when indoors and there's an audience like you, fly within the netting. So what's interesting is, because of all the cell phones and all the electronics, this particular drone that we're flying, they're getting a lot of interference. So hopefully I won't crash it into the netting. I do have to change the battery, so once again, just give me one more second here. And you guys, well, I'll just keep talking about what I'm doing. So there's the battery of these drones. And once again, the worst thing that happens is to get out in the field and you don't have a charged battery, $150. But if you go to Energen, they have chargers for these. Energen, love you guys. Okay. So let's see. So this is a DJI Phantom 4. You pick it up for about $2,000. Has a 4K camera. Has a range of 4 miles. Can fly for about 30 minutes on one battery charge. I use it for most of my work. I actually, for you filmmakers, if you end up starving and you're not getting a lot of production work, you can also use your drones to do mapping, surveying, cell tower inspections, crops. You can mess around with crops. So there's a lot of things you can do with your drones that have nothing to do with shooting cinematography. So let's see, we're going to get this thing fired up. I mean, it would be nice to fly all over the convention center, but apparently I'm not allowed to do that. Normally, if those are somebody's rules, I really wouldn't be that concerned about them, but because I'm a guest here, and because I don't want to actually just fly over the netting. So hopefully you'll see, oh, there is the feed. There you go. I can't believe all this works. The technology's great. So we were playing around with this stuff yesterday. The reason I'm launching this is from the pad, and you guys I'll tell you, if anybody out there has, hey, question, anybody out there have drones? Anybody actually have a drone? 4, 5 people, 5 people. Okay, so what happens with drones a lot of times is metal will interfere with the compass. So a lot of drone pilots will take their drones and set them up on their cars, and then when they take off, the drone will fly away or fly into a wall or fly into something because it messes up the compass. So apparently here, there's a lot of metal in the floor, and it's actually playing around with my compass. So I'm going to set it set up so that you guys can see the telemetry. So you're actually going to see what I'm seeing on my monitor when we take off. When we're supposed to take off. So that's just a whole bunch of stuff You don't have to. If you were in a class or you were one of my students or something, I'd be teaching what all that stuff is. A whole bunch of warnings are going to come up. So that's because of the interference in here. But I think we're ready to have a little bit of fun and fly this thing. The beeping noise that you're hearing, that's a proximity warning. It's telling me that I'm going to run into something. So that would be the net. So let's see. Let me aim down at you people. I'll get a beautiful picture. Hold on. Turn it down. Oh, you guys look wonderful. So I'll smile, wave at the camera. That's a shot. Let's get some video. Oh, since we are filmmakers, a little bit of a wave. Oh, you guys look wonderful. Okay, enough of that. None of you will make it as actors, so we'll just turn that off. All right, let me see if I can actually have a little fun up here. So don't mind me if I'm not talking, because you really don't want to talk and fly at the same time. So let's just, so first of all, a drone can go 360 degrees, just like that. And then you can go down, right? So this is a reveal. So if you guys are my audience and I wanted to show this big crowd, right? So there's the crowd. So we keep the camera down low, and then we just blast it on up. Woo! Just like that. And now we get to see the big audience. So that's a reveal. I don't think I'm allowed to go over the cage. I don't know what's up there. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. So then we come down. So that's a reveal. Another shot, another type of reveal is when you pull back. So we get close to the net, like right about there. Ooh. And then a simple reveal, again, we aim the camera down a little bit. A simple reveal that they were using in their commercials is just a pull back, something like that. And if you want to get really tricky with a reveal, you can pull back and go up. So we get close to that netting. Oh, don't hit that net. Ooh, scared you, didn't I? All right, so we go down. Oh, I know what just happened. The air conditioning kicked in, and it's actually affecting the flight of the drone, so it's blowing at the drone. That's crazy. We don't like that. So if you want to, I'll tell you a trick. I'll tell you how you look like an amateur filmmaker. So I call this the wedding shot. So if you're at a wedding, and your camera guy is your cousin, and he's got his camera on a tripod, and the bride is walking down the runway or the aisle, and he bumps into the camera, the image jerks like this, right? It jerks. And oh no. So when you're filming, when you're filming with a drone, no matter what direction you're going, try to go in that direction smoothly. Even if you have to turn, don't turn, just bank it a little. Because as soon as you go like this, you've ruined the shot. So never turn a drone, always slide it or track it or bank it. But now, even though I'm in a little cage here, reminds me of my days back in college. My parents locked me up in a cage. So we can do, not a lot of room here, but uh-oh. Oh no, it did it. How do I stop it now? Oh. Well, that wasn't fair. So that what happens when there's netting around your 30-foot cage. Never really happened to me before. Hopefully they have a thing here. But I am going to defer to the air conditioning vent that's blowing down in that drone for blowing it into the net. Although it makes good for Instagram, it'll be great. I'm sure my Instagram page will blow up now, my Facebook page, LinkedIn, and who knows, so it's a great way to end I think now would be a great way to end my segment, and then maybe bring back the people. Oh, let me get a picture of this first. You know, it's not very often I get stuck in the netting at a trade show. There you go. And, okay, so that was, ladies and gentlemen, that was my drone demo presentation. Thank you very much. I do need a ladder.
Thank you. Hey guys, hello. Let's get another round of applause for Skip Fredericks. That was excellent. Thank you for Skip.
Thanks.
Sorry, we had a little bit of air conditioning mishap there with the drone in the net. So yeah, we wanted to come back out and just offer ourselves up for any Q&A. If you guys have any questions about what we do or how we do it, anything to do with the commercials that we shot or the lighting vignette that we showed. So I'll open up the floor. We got a question over there.
We have a microphone for him. Yeah, I got you, brother.
So I'll let Josh actually answer that question. Can you shoot in the light rain?
These are electronics we're dealing with, and you really want to stay away from water. With drones, you always have to be cautious of safety. You'll see that in good conditions, drones can be fairly safe. They're easy to control. They hover. Even if you lose control of the drone, like let's say you lose signal, they'll stay where they are. When you start adding factors like wind, not so much, but water or anything else that might be detrimental to electronics, keep in mind these motors are facing upwards, pulling air from the props downwards right past the motor. It's not recommended, and then you start increasing your liability with safety. So shortly put, no water with drones.
And well, that's with the drones that we're using for cinematography most of the time. There are some consumer drones out now that have the motors inverted. They're a little bit more protected against water, and some of them you can even fly in a fairly decent rain. But the ones that are meant for cinematography so far are still pretty much got to keep them dry.
Yeah, thank you for the clarification. So yeah, the ones we use mostly no.
The drone over the water, the surfing.
That was a Matrice M600, I believe, a DJI Matrice M600 with a lighting element attached to it.
And then I think we also had another camera following because we had two drones.
You know, there was actually, I saw another drone in that video. Jeff is the guy who shot that. He's Jeffrey Mustache. He actually had a Phantom as well with a light on it too. So he did a Phantom, I think it was probably a 2 or a 3. And then I saw he also had an M600.
Yeah, and when you saw the aerial shots, when you saw a shot looking down above the drone, I think there was probably the M600 with the light on it, and then you had the Phantom on top of it that you were getting your view from.
Questions, everybody actually. Just wanted to know what the type of drone they were using.
Cool. Right here.
I thought the idea of lighting with drones was really genius. And we saw it mostly in photography. Have you guys used it in anything commercial? And what do you think is the future of lighting using drones?
Good question, actually. We did use it in some commercial stuff when we did the Fox Fury lighting stuff. You worked on that, right? Do you want to talk to that a little bit? Answer. I mean, what do you think the future of lighting for drones is? I mean, obviously, I think the answer is it's going up. It'd be punny.
It adds an element of creativity for sure. We've had some DPs, directors of photography, talk to us about how they'd like to put a light up on a drone so it's more easily maneuverable if they're trying to light a car at night or light a scene so they don't have to put one of those giant arms up there with a big lighting pill. It'll help keep things efficient. So it's something that we're moving into a little bit. We haven't done a whole lot with it yet. Jeffrey has done most of it for us, but we're going to see how it all goes.
Yeah. It's been around for at least half a decade. I mean, Josh, when was the first time you saw lighting on a drone?
You know, I saw a video about a year ago, and this was a 2-year-old video, so it's been around for a little bit, and people have been playing with the concept.
Yeah.
I think it's really going to be up to the artists, directors, and DPs out there who are going to get creative and find ways to have your light and your light source moving, which isn't exactly what we see. You know, light source is pretty constant in drone videos. It's our sun, but now you're taking that, filming at night, and you're moving your light source along with the camera. So it's up to everyone to get creative and find the best ways to use this. So far, we like the way the shots look, so we're really open to it.
It adds a very surreal element, like a Beetlejuice sort of thing, or like Dark City, something really surreal kind of feel to it. And I think there can be a lot of creativity in lights on drones.
Yeah.
Right here. I've just got impressed. So they just sent me today like something to look for 249 for Blade Runner, how they use the Dre technology in Blade Runner. Have you guys seen anything in the films that are supposed to be futuristic, showing how these are supposed to be drones in the future, or how they're using drones that's supposed to be in the next level, or like that? Have you seen anything eye-wise that you guys have seen and say, oh, that movie really captured, or that TV show in the future really captures how drones should be, or they're still kind of off, or the way people are supposed to see futuristic level of drone use and technology?
Right. What do you think?
I think, well, you know, back in school, they always used to tell us art imitates life, life imitates art, and back and forth, yada, yada. So I think that, you know, no one really knows for sure what the future is going to hold. Obviously, that's like the end-all be-all answer to that question. But in my personal humble opinion, I think, you know, batteries are going to get way more efficient. You're going to be able to keep a drone in the sky for hours rather than just minutes right now. Be a lot more powerful. I think they're going to be a lot more smart. So you're going to be able to fly in crowded areas. You're going to be able to fly in crowded airspace without fear of any kind of, you know, malfunction or problem with other aircraft in the sky. I think they're going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. I think you're going to be able to get basically what we're shooting on Reds. 5 years ago, we were shooting like a Red equivalent of like a 4K resolution camera or 2K resolution camera. Now we're shooting 8K resolution cameras, and they're only getting smaller. For example, like the new X7 camera from DJI, it's what shoots in 6K.
6K. It's a Super 35 sensor, and it's small form factor.
Yeah, so the camera's this big as opposed to a Red camera with lenses, and you know it can get this big real quick. You know, if you add up all the accessories. So drones are going to get smaller, more powerful.
Cameras are going to get smaller, cheaper. Batteries are going to.
Everything's getting cheaper. Yep. Batteries are going to be the #1 thing, dude. The battery industry is due for a revolution. I mean, it's already on the edge of it right now. We're not experts in the battery field by any means, but we are paying attention to it because it is our fuel. So they are changing, making huge changes.
What are the rules when operating drones in public places to avoid privacy concerns?
Right. Okay. So there's the paparazzi rule, things like that. I'll let Josh kind of touch on this stuff, but there's the paparazzi rule. Then there's when you're shooting on set, you know, only people that are on, you know, part of the production can be within a certain foot amount of the drone. There's a lot of little intricacies that go into shooting in a crowded area, and you have to be cognizant of what those rules are. Chet, you want to touch on that?
Yeah. So as far as I'm concerned, being mostly a drone pilot, I'm primarily concerned where the drone is and for the safety of people. You know, everybody has cell phones, and you know, cell phones have really been kind of a big thing with privacy. The fact that you can take them anywhere and take cameras anywhere, and the drone doesn't seem to be much different. People's perspectives about privacy might be different. They think that the drone might always be looking at them, when in actuality, when we go to film sets, usually we're permitted to be there. We're flying over permissible areas not directly over the crew or cast. And we're really not looking in or around other places. You know, if people do have issues with it, that's kind of in their own space when we follow the rules and do everything within our own space. To summarize, some people might have issues with privacy. If you stay by the rules, keep your drone safe, don't fly over people who aren't participating or aren't directly involved, you should be pretty safe flying, and the privacy rules are pretty much like anybody else with a camera.
Yeah. We have no interest in shooting through your bedroom window. We're trying to get a shot of of what the Ford is doing or what the Chevy's doing.
Let me throw in the legal part, okay? So from 1 inch off the ground, because I'm an instructor, from 1 inch off the ground to infinity, that belongs to the Federal Aviation Administration. So the idea is, as long as you're not restricted, there's certain areas that the FAA restricts. Wrap up. There's certain areas that the FAA restricts. That's around airports. It's around fires. We have people that are flying into fires. That's not good. You can't fly over crowds unless you're permitted and it's an actual set. You're not allowed to fly over a crowd. You're not allowed to fly over a hospital. You're not allowed to fly over police departments. So there's certain things that the FAA requires you not to do. But basically, if you're flying in your neighborhood and you're below 400 feet and you're not flying over any of those structures, you know, then it's just how politically correct you want to be with your neighbor, because you are totally within your right to fly over your neighborhood as long as you're not breaking those laws that I just mentioned. So if your neighbors don't like you, that's a different story, but in my case, you know, they like me. So.
Last question, I think, and then we'll wrap it up. That doesn't sound legal now.
No.
I think that's illegal more for the
that was one lucky drone pilot, though.
It's sort of the same situation, though, as somebody who's got a telephoto lens and they're shooting you from the apartment building across the way. There's going to be creepy people out there that have tools at their disposal. You just got to hope that they don't live next to you.
Wrap up. Oh, one more.
Yes, sir. Camera operator? Absolutely, yeah. Most of our packages go out with at least 2 crew members. A pilot.
99% of what we do
Yeah,
So that would
the
be-
vast majority, like 99%, it's 2 to 3 crew members usually. For the larger systems, it's a 3-man crew. We've got a pilot, we've got a camera operator, and a visual observer who also acts as like a cable runner, PA guy, you know, battery charger. He's usually somebody who knows a lot about drones and how they work, so he knows how to charge batteries. He knows, you know, how to read a heads-up display, so he can tell you what your voltage is, distance, stuff like that. So yeah, larger systems, all to 8s, red cameras, Movi Pros, 3-man crew typically. Inspire 2 packages, stuff we shoot car commercials with, 2-man crew. Oh yeah, always 2-man crew. Real estate you can get by with 1.
Oh, there you go.
That it?
When the stage manager starts clapping, that means we're done.
I think we're done. All right,
We're
thank
done.
you so much, guys.
Guys, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.